Live.
Okay, before we talk about the podcast, I would never be skimming through the book of faces while we're getting ready, but I was. And listen to this. This is really sweet. I love Myra. I will not say her last name, although with the name Myra, people might figure it out. Actually, if they don't know her, they will. But she says, I hope I will have the courage to be as transparent online as you. In person, I will tell you my life story in less than a heartbeat. But bloggity blog, you and Roni are my role models.
I'm the complete opposite.
Oh, I'm both. Like, oh my gosh, I had somebody come over, have friends over. If I feel comfortable with you. No, I'm just honest. But there's
no, that's true. I am.
You are.
Yes. But I definitely have, I think, more filters in person than online. I think because I can't read when you're having a conversation, you can read people and then react to their reactions. So I tend to pull back because maybe I'm too liberal for them or something. So you know what I mean? But on the website, I'm just like, I'm just throwing up and I'm not getting any feedbacks, while I'm writing it. So
yes,
that's really
right.
Yeah.
I made a comment. We had friends over. I'm going to do the air quotes, finger quotes. We had people over this weekend who I don't know all that well. Oh, I'm showing my sports bra from Handful Bra. Love it, love it. And I said, and you're right, looking at their faces, I was joking around, and I actually shared this as well. My daughter is astounded at the fact I can tell. It's almost like a form of gaydar. My gay friends still always make the joke. They can tell who's gay and who's not, no matter what they're doing, who's Jewish and who's not. So we met a boy and he had a dog and on and on and on. He was probably in his 20s, which to me is a boy. And later I said to her, okay, so wasn't his dog cute? Yes. Could you tell he was Jewish? No. And so, no, not the dog. The boy. I know, you're right. The boy.
I'm sorry, I totally took that too literally.
So we had friends over and I was telling them that, and then they were Jewish. And then I ended the story with totally joking around. And so I'm going to teach her to do this so she knows who to marry. And it goes back to what you said about easier online and what Myra said about in person. Oh my gosh, they did not find it funny. And it was really awkward. And I backpedaled. But you're right. When you can see their faces, and you know.
Yeah, then you don't go deeper in. You don't dig yourself deeper into that hole. That's funny.
You're right. Okay, so I thought that was sweet that she thinks we're transparent in our blogs and we're more than transparent in the podcast.
That's very true. Yeah, I don't know how not to be. There's some filters. You put up filters. It's just human nature, but in general,
we've got our stories to tell. We're good with that. Like you don't tell Bill's private stories because it's not your story to tell. But you know what I mean? Like really personal stuff. Like healthy living stuff we'll share. But I don't for the longest time.
Oh yeah, no. And this goes back to my theory on the whole privacy Facebook thing. Like, why do you assume it's private? So like I don't share anything I'm not willing to share if I'm not comfortable sharing it. It doesn't get shared in any aspect online, in person,
or gosh. I was saying that to a friend with secret Facebook groups. You never know. I assume everything I put out there is front page New York Times.
Oh yeah, I don't trust secret. I have secret Facebook groups, one for the gym, one for the conference, but I only put things there that I would also put on my wall, but most people don't give a crap about it. So why would I?
Yes. You know what? You nailed it. Because people will ask me about secret or private, I guess is better. Facebook group. That's what it is.
To me, that's more niche based where you're just not wasting people's time. Like,
great point.
Yes. Like if I'm going to make an announcement about the conference, I'm going to do it in the conference group instead of on my wall, because more people that are going to the conference would be to see it, but then also that all my friends who don't give a crap about my conference don't have to be bothered with it on their wall.
Okay, I think we've already started the podcast.
Yeah, we should probably hop right in. Okay, so let's just all right, so we have the jerf, which I never heard that hashtag before. So that's
you haven't? Oh my word.
No, I know what she's talking about, and yes.
Good. Okay.
And then I thought we would talk about. Well, I thought we could either start or end, and it might make more sense to start because it's chattier with my whole. Did you see my post about turning 39?
Yes.
Did you see that today?
And I love what you said about don't tell me I'm a baby, because that was my first thought. I'm like, dude, I am 46, and
I know. But see, it's kind of like that. Well, we'll save this.
Yes. Okay, you're right. Save it because it is interesting. Yes.
And you should bring that up. You should bring that up. But yeah, I thought we would bring that up. And then I have a wycwycer of the week. And that's it, right? That's it.
That is it. And now I may not have a wycwycer of the week, so you may be the only one.
That's fine. That's fine. I
use one here somewhere.
Find one like really fast while you're usually talking about your wycwycer of the week. I'm like, oh crap! I also don't have a wycwycer of the week.
Okay, I will let you. I am ready to go.
Am I bringing it in? I'm bringing it in. Okay,
you are bringing it in because I'm like, what episode number is this?
26.
Wow.
Perfect. Oh, now I got to verify that. Hold on. I have to verify that. I think I'm going to just go to the blog and look at the podcast. See what we got. Oh, I'm so mad that my headphones are breaking. Good. I don't have really resources now to buy new ones.
And they're not
cheap.
Old. Well, and they're not old. How long has Ryan been using them?
A few months. I feel like it's just, I got to take it apart. There seems to be a bad connection. Yeah, we are 26.
Okay, I'm so excited. Let's get into this because I've got some good chatty stuff too. Just personal crap that I'm really excited about.
All right, here we go.
I'm ready.
All right. Welcome to the wycwyc podcast, episode 26.
I'm going to start by giving a shout out to our YouTube channel because I think that was a very interesting conversation we had leading into it. And you don't get the backstory, the back scenes, the tidbits unless you watch the video.
Yeah, it's true. We probably should. Well, yeah, I feel like YouTube is our practice area. And then the podcast is our more as professional as we get area because you and I are not like the uber professionals in the podcast realm.
Yeah. Although the more I've been listening to Gilmore Guys, the more I think, apparently because I have misplaced confidence and they have gotten really huge, we are as good as they. So I'm going to pat us on the back. Yeah, they're so chatty and joking, and then they go to run something and it doesn't work, and it's the whole genre that we want, not freakonomics, but
right, not overly produced. Well, it's funny because anytime I listen to something I enjoy, like if it's a talk show or a radio show or a TV show, whatever, I think my first thought is, oh, they're so talented and they're really good at it. And I'm like, wait, I could do that too. It's like, that's what we do. We're not that bad at what we do either. We have lots to talk about and offer. Yes.
Speaking of about, happy birthday.
Thank you. I am day 5 into my, you have to see it. You can correct me here. Into my 40th year. I just turned 39, but as the husband corrected me.
When people say that, it confuses me.
Yeah. When the husband corrected me, he's like, well, if you have to think about it, your age is a zero. This is how geeky we are. Your age is a zero-based thing. So like when you turn 1, you have ended your first year, right? When you turn 2, you ended your second year. So I've just ended my 39th year. So I'm starting my 40th year. But we generally don't. See, I get it because I used to be like a programmer type person.
Yes, I just smile and nod when people say that because everybody said that to me.
Yeah, whatever you say, yes. So I just turned 39 on July 24th. Yes, so I'm 5 days into my 39s, whatever that's called, or as I like to say. Wait. I want to know. No. Now I was doing math. I was doing math. I was doing math in my head because I used to say, like, the year after I turned 30, like when I turned 30, I said it was my second 29th birthday. So this is my, so this is my 10th, 29th birthday. Yeah, I used to joke, but I couldn't do that fast. But yeah, so I launched a little personal hashtag project called #loving39.
Okay, I need to ask you before you go on. When I saw this last night, I was thinking, oh, so I bet, and tell me if I'm wrong, because this seems like such a great idea. You're going to go through and do a book of all the pictures later, or why the hashtag? Not just so you can follow it, but there are other reasons.
Well, my reasons were, okay, so I'll probably, every few weeks, I'll probably gather the Instagram photos that I share on my Instagram account that I've tagged Loving39.
Yes.
So that honestly, it's for personal reasons. It's so that I could go back and find them. But yeah, you're right. There is kind of there's other kind of potential great side effects of having a hashtag. But for me, it was kind of like also though, because since I use my personal Instagram account to basically share everything from food ideas to family photos to tips to inspiration, like it's a way for me to distinguish that, hey, this specific photo is my loving 39.
Oh, yes, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Great idea.
Well, and so the idea is, and I used a page out of our book, What You Can When You Can. And I turned my words inside out because I have found myself recently saying things like, oh, I'm getting so old. And like I'm around a lot of younger people sometimes and they make me feel old. And like they're not getting some of the references, pop culture references that you and I love so much. And so I thought, let me turn my words inside out and really celebrate every day that I am 39 instead of looking at it as a death sentence to 40. Like, oh my God, I'm going to be 40 next year.
I think that you nailed it with the pop culture, because I was trying to think when I read your post, why did 40 feel like total non-issue? I mean, I remember my husband had a surprise party for me and I was like, oh, that's really nice. But I do not care in the slightest, don't feel old in the slightest. And I think you nailed it with the pop culture, that all of that didn't happen to me until pop culture became less of a priority and my references kind of became a little
dated. They died on you?
45. Yeah, it wasn't until, because at 40, I had so much.
You're still keeping in touch.
It was only 4. It was like super easy. It didn't feel like a priority. It was just what I did. So it didn't feel old to me. 40, turning 45, and I can see 50. Like I will probably do what you're doing at 49 for 50, because to me, 50 feels like I could only have 25 really good years left. I mean, people in my family live to be 100, but I've seen the life decline at 93, 94, 95. But you lose autonomy at 89, 90. 50 will be hard for me. But I think at 40, I still felt like, oh yeah, I am hip, people. I am on fleek.
Now, let me ask you a very serious question though. Do you think possibly you felt hip, but you actually weren't hip?
No,
that's my
I think
fear.
I was.
That's
no,
my fear.
I think that because now I know I'm not hip. Now I feel hip. Now I feel hip, but I know I'm not. Like when I do the name, I know I'm not hip.
It's kind of like when you see, you know, I mean, this is really petty and mean girl-esque, but when you see an older woman dressing too young for herself,
exactly.
And you kind of notice, but, you know, and whatever, to each their own, everyone wear whatever you want. I don't really care. Yes. But there is a little bit of like weird where they feel they look great, but everyone else is kind of like, oh, maybe your skirt shouldn't be that short anymore.
Yes, and you make a point where it's not mean, because I would say often to my husband, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know what age. I don't say it so much anymore because now I feel like I know. But I would say to him, I don't want to be that. So let me know if I am that. It's no judgment on her.
Right. You're asking.
It. Yes.
Yeah. If you like it, you like it. That's all. I think it's my own personal. That's like, you know how we always say like it's not the other people, it's me, right? So I'm projecting my own fear that I am either out of touch or looking too young for my, but then and it's my own, because I know even today, for example, I dropped off Evan at preschool and I always go, was it today? Oh, it was yesterday, because I actually took a shower before I went, which is like a novelty, because usually I'm like running in my sweaty workout clothes from the morning. But I had a couple errands to run, so I came home and I showered. And so I'm not kidding, I'm wearing cut off jean shorts with holes in them. And this is why my husband, this is why my husband, short jean shorts with holes in them. But the reasoning why I'm wearing them is not because I'm like some fashionista and that's in. Those were literally the only shorts they had at Target in my size. And I needed a pair of shorts. So I went, these will work. So I'm wearing cutoff jean shorts with holes in them and a orange Orioles tank top, because I live outside of Baltimore. So I'm not the biggest baseball fan, but if you're going to wear a baseball shirt, it's going to be an Orioles shirt. So I'm wearing this like, you know, wife beater-esque orange tank top. And I don't think I particularly look good or bad. I just am. That's generally my take on fashion. I'm comfortable. I'm out and about. But I was very aware as I was walking into the daycare that I am the only mom not in a business suit, heels, like, and I started to get self-conscious. Like, I wonder if they're looking at me like, oh, she's the old woman trying I'm just not into fashion. Do you know what I mean? So that's my own personal baggage.
Interesting. It's funny because it's all how you comport yourself. Like Emma is 9 and she will already point out to me, oh, mama, look, she does not like what she has on. And I'll look over and the woman's pulling on it. Yes. And so if you're in there like, okay, I'm running in, running out, doing errands, I would more think that they're looking at you like, oh, I kind of wish that could be me.
You think? Yeah, I get. Yes. I mean, it's funny because I generally don't even give a good start. And I have friends who are like really into fashion, and I'm always like, and they kind of make fun of me all the time. And I'm at this point, I find it in a way humorous because I'm very comfortable with who I am. So I'm just like, yes. And the one time we were at a conference, and my friend's like, oh, you should really wear this dress when you speak. And I thought, if I wore that dress, I would feel like I'm wearing a costume, and then I couldn't be myself. Yes. So I said, if I'm going to stand in front of a crowd, I need to be myself. And you know what? Myself is wearing flip-flops that I actually take off in the middle of the talk, some yoga skirt and a tank top because I'm comfortable and I'm me. And then that way I'm not thinking about what I'm wearing while I'm speaking. But if I wear this like fancy schmancy dress that she picked out for me, I'd be like, I would be in the back of my mind distracted because I would feel like I was faking this persona, and then that's not me. So
now I have thought about, because we have a publicist now working some angles for us with the book and hopefully getting into some TV something. I have thought more than once, oh, I hope that the Today Show, Good Morning America, the doctors, Dr. Oz want to have us on. And then my next thought is, oh, but I hope
crap, what am I going to wear?
Last minute. Yes, because I'm highly aware that I don't own anything that would be appropriate for television, and I would need someone to tell me. But it's I would welcome someone.
Yes.
Just tell me what to put on.
I've done, a couple small TV spots.
Did they tell you?
They always tell you. Yes, they tell you. And then when you go there, so I was on the Doctors last year. Was it the Doctors? It was for this piece I did in the Ladies' Home Journal about weight maintenance. And not only did they make recommendations for you in email, then you could send a picture of yourself in the thing and they'll kind of approve what you're wearing. But then when you get there, they have a whole wardrobe. So if they think it's not going to work on camera, they'll just swap out a shirt.
Yes. I love because they'll say, just wear, when I did one TV thing, just wear a fitted blazer. And I was like, okay, you have not met me. I know. It was one of those. It was like, do a jewel colored. I'm like, oh yeah, no.
I have another confession because I can't remember when I did it, but years ago, I think I was an extra in a movie. Like they were filming a movie in Baltimore. And I was like, my friend and I was like, well, we should put our names into this because this would be really fun just to see behind the scenes of the movie. Like I don't have any aspirations to be an actor because I can't act because I'm too transparent. Anyway, because of that, I'm in a database of like casting. And so the other day I got an email asking me to fill out this little survey, like my height and my weight and my age and blah, blah, measurements and all that. And it wanted 4 photos, 2 photos, 2 headshots and 2 full body shots, one in a yoga pant and tank and the other one in a suit, like a business suit.
I don't even have one anymore. Do you?
I don't have one. Yeah. So I emailed back the woman and I filled out the survey and then I just attached like random photos, hoping that whatever. I was like, why not?
Mine would be, this is me on a slide.
Exactly. So I'm thinking maybe they'll look at me and go, oh, she's perfect. Don't even worry about the photos. But yeah, no, that's never going to happen. So she writes me back immediately. And she's like, can you please send the photos? The director would like to take a look at all the people in I guess the whole point is the director wants to see everybody in the same outfits and poses so that they can look at
yes.
So I wrote her back and I was like, okay, I'll shoot for this because she wanted it by like the next day at 10 a.m. And I'm like, forget it. I'm not like this is it's too much work for me to dig in my closet and find something that I could pass as a suit. And then B, to get my husband to take a picture of me, like this is a lot of work. And I'm like, I just don't have it in me. And then I'm like, oh, I really am getting old. Because if it was 10 years ago, I would have been all over that. I'd be like taking my pictures.
Oh my gosh. And it's that, yes. I think that is getting older for me. It's the choosing how I spend my time. It's the awareness of what has the biggest bang for the buck.
they're not going to pay me to be some extra in some movie. I'm just going to waste an entire day. And yeah, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years, that was it was an experience, and I had time to give, and it was fun, you know. And now it's kind of like, I have too many things on my to-do list to give up a day. I mean, unless you're going to pay me. I just had this conversation with the husband about the potential of speaking at an event. And again, 10 years ago, I would have covered my expenses, spoke for free. Yes. It wouldn't have been a big deal. But now I'm like, guys, I would love to do this, but if you can't minimally cover my expenses, I can't justify the time away from my family. I just can't.
Well, and it goes back to what started you in all this with the book shout out of turning our words inside out. When I used to think what's the worst that could happen, I shifted it to what's the best that could happen. And that actually worked so well in the situations like with sending the pictures. What's the best that can happen?
Well, yeah.
I lose a day and I get in one fleeting shot and that's the best. No, thank you.
That's kind of why I sent that's why I was like, well, this will take me 3 minutes to fill this out and send them random photos. I'm like, what's the best that can happen? She looks at the photos and then asks me to send additional ones or says, oh, you're perfect. Yes. Like, can you? So I was like, I'll just send random photos instead of, it's kind of the optimist pessimist view that we talked about last year. The pessimist wouldn't even send anything at all. Me, the optimist, I was like, well, I'll send her random photos and maybe it'll work anyway.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That is where I am. Because it makes it more of an adventure. Like, what's going to happen?
Exactly. Everything is an adventure. That's how I kind of look at everything. So the idea of this whole Loving 39 thing for me is, and I talk about it in my blog post, is to basically, you ever heard those like 365 daily photo projects that people have done? They're big on like Google Plus and Instagram. And to be honest, I have attempted them and have failed miserably.
Oh, interesting.
I'll make it like day 10 in. And then
I don't even attempt.
I find it the daily practice of very appealing to me. And I'm not sure why. I think it's a challenge. It's definitely very challenging to do something every day for a year. That in and of itself, whatever it might be, cooking something, taking a photo of something, you know. And so I find it really challenging. And I thought, well, if it's taking a photo, but it's more, for me, it's, I want to do something and kind of prove to myself in a weird way that I can take 5 minutes a day, you know, minimally 2 minutes a day, something where I make a decision that's purely for me. And I say in the blog that it's selfish by design, because as a mom and a wife and a woman, basically, it's always doing things for someone else. It's making the kids breakfast. It's packing their bags for the day. It's making dinner for the family. It's calling my mom and checking in on her. It's this, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm kind of constantly there for everyone else. I mean, and I think most women do. I think a lot of people feel that way. So I thought, well, what a great way to celebrate kind of, you know, everyone talks about getting older. And one of the things that they appreciate about getting older is knowing who they are, knowing, like we just talked about, where we want to spend our time. And I just feel like I can make a conscious decision every day to do just something that has no one else's interest at heart except for my own. So that's kind of where the idea came from. Plus, I'm like a big believer in pushing myself out of my comfort zone and making a decision in the moment. Like the ones that I posted so far, you know, it was like, I ate my birthday cake. I didn't worry about like the calories. I just ate the cake. Like that's like a little thing, but you know, like so many people kind of struggle with the little things like that. So they're going to be so minor, but I think the collection of them day in and day out over 365 days could be kind of interesting to see, even because I've already started to think, I'm only 5 days in and I'm already like, crap, what am I going to do tomorrow? Like, I don't know. It's kind of scary. I don't know what I could do tomorrow for myself.
Yeah, I love that. The thought of doing that leading up to 50. Although, yes.
Fun. I mean, and you could do it for anything. It's just, I just think it's kind of, I'm very proactive. So it's my proactive way of battling kind of the natural inclination I have to feel sorry for myself that I'm getting older. Does that make sense?
It does. And we've talked about before, and I talk about to everybody how there are a few people in my world who are constantly telling me how hard it's going to be. Oh my gosh, you have no clue. 46 is simple. Wait till 56. It's horrible. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to hear that, but I have to say again, even though I say, please don't tell me anything about aging. I have never loved anything more than I love being in my 40s. I know it's so trite, but it is like, it's so cheap, but it really only gets better.
I believe that it gets better. I do. And I think it can only get better if you take an approach kind of the way I'm taking it. It doesn't have to be so formal, but yeah, no, I think it does get better if and I really do think words are powerful. So if you're constantly like, oh, I'm getting older, I'm so old now, and you just say that, you're training yourself for it to suck. Versus,
there are some people in my life, yes, you talk about that all the time, and I think no wonder it's law of attraction. And I read this quote the other day. I'm like, I need to write about this because we've talked so much about fear, but that fear is manifesting in reverse. And I thought, oh, that's so true. And this person, I'm like, you are drawing in all of this negative. All she ever talks about is aging is horrible and it's so hard and it's terrible. And just wait till you get here. And I think, well, yeah, it's terrible. That's all you
made it true. Yes. No, I think Jillian Michaels, I listened to Jillian Michaels, I haven't listened to it for a long time, but a few months ago, she talks about that a lot, which is you make true what you fear most. Like concept. And I can't remember. She has a great way of saying it where it actually makes sense versus me.
No, but I love that. Just simple. Yes.
Yeah. Like you basically, by fearing this thing, you actually make it come true through your actions of trying to prevent it. You make it happen, kind of thing. I'm murdering that. But you brought this up in the in our pre-broadcast, which was, I did make a joke. I made a pop culture reference which I know you got, right? I made a pop culture.
Oh my gosh, I loved this.
A Steve Miller Band song, which who knows how, I don't even know if younger people know the Steve Miller Band, if they're even still around. I actually saw them live when I was in high school. So I made a joke, and I was like, oh, and a joke as in, if you are too young to get that reference, we can't be friends. And I'm like, if you're older than me and you tell me I'm a baby, because that's one of my big pet peeves. You're just a baby. And I'm like, let me own exactly my
like the older person. I loved when you said that. It's because I will often say to people, whatever it's about, and when we have a conversation, and I'll end it with, thank you for just meeting me where I am. And that's what I thought with your post. Yes, it is okay to feel this way. Just sit with me where I am. I don't want to be 40.
Just let me own it, because you already got to go through this. I didn't get to go through this yet. It's kind of like and I'm guilty of this, and I'm much more conscious of doing it. But it's like when you have a baby, and then people have older kids, and they're like, oh, just wait until this age, and just wait until that age. And I'm like, I get it. And I'm guilty of saying those things myself, but I'm consciously trying not to, because I do feel like it is insulting when someone says, or someone says, oh, well, just wait till you have two, or like,
I try to stop saying, and that I still say it, but I preface it with, I know everybody says this, it goes so fast. I just say, I know this is really exhausting, and I know everybody said this, but it does go so fast.
Well, and you're trying to skirt that balance between trying to make a person feel better, or sometimes it comes from two different places, I think. One, it comes from either, if you are trying to console someone, you're like, oh, it gets better, and I think that comes from a good place. But the other flip side would be, and again, I'm guilty of this, is almost trying to that whole idea of one-upping. Like, well, it's worse for me. I have two kids, and it's worse for me. My kid's 4 right now, and you know what I mean? Or like,
I'm in the mode of not wanting to talk about my stuff, so I tend to hold up the mirror. Like, let's not talk about me. Let's focus on you and your toddler. Oh, but that's a perfect segue into what I want to talk about. And what I know you're ready to talk about with it happens a lot with moms, and it happens a lot with everybody, but you see it a lot in the mom groupings of, I would never feed my child that. I would never do baby food. We just did real food. And it's like, it starts there when the kids are little, and then the kids grow up, and we begin to do it to each other with the hashtag that you brought up that's used so commonly, JERF, JERF, just eat real food. And I found an article all about this, and I kind of wanted to just talk about it. I know I'm super opinionated with it, starting less with myself and more back when my daughter was little, and I would get criticized a lot by other mothers for giving her goldfish crackers. when they were giving their
we're a big
kids
Goldfish family. Yes.
Annies. You know those Annies that are
Oh,
supposed to be
they're
more.
the same
And I'm like, there's no
thing.
difference.
There's
Yes.
no
And so it started there with me. And then I don't think the hashtag was created. And then later seeing the hashtag, it rubs me the wrong way. So I don't know how we want to go about talking about the article, but I wanted to discuss this and see what you thought and what our listeners think about the whole just eat real food movement.
Okay, so it's funny because when you sent me the article, and we'll link to it in our podcast post on the blog so people can read it, because I agree a lot with what I think the woman's name is Kristen, what she's saying. I think her tone was a little bit like she goes into hashtags and how she was kind of anti-hashtag, which is kind of interesting to kind of bring it back to the whole hashtag. Yes. But I thought I don't agree with her a lot on her translation kind of hashtags or her impression of hashtags.
Now I kind of skipped over that because I was focused on the jerk.
Yeah, I was a little preachy about the hashtags. But I am guilty of saying the just eat real food things, but I agree everything with what she said. With everyone is so different and where they are, and I've talked about this on my blog. My diet is completely different than it was 10 years ago, like night and day. I think I shared on my blog post my first week on Weight Watchers, and there was everything from like Lucky Charms, hot dogs. I'm trying to think. I ate a lot of those. Do you remember those? Do you remember those little cups with the cracker sticks and the processed cheese that you dip in? You know what I'm talking about?
I do. And a lot of kids bring those to camp. My daughter is fascinated.
I was a huge fan of those. I don't remember what they're called, but Aldi. I'm a big Aldi fan, and they had their own version of those. And I remember my first few months on Weight Watchers back in the day in 2005, I would buy those, and they would be one of my go-to snacks because they were like under 100 calories, portion control, and I felt like I was having this like cheaty snack, you know, like, but that. Eating those was basically my replacement for eating a bag of Doritos. Like, do you know what I mean? So,
well, and how would you have responded if you had posted that? And I love what she says, the use of the words. If someone had said to you, just eat real food creates a sense of elitism and exclusivity that does little to benefit. And I'm thinking, Roni, if you in that place you were, the non-foodies who need nutrition help the most. In fact, telling people to just eat real food supports the idea some foods are healthy, others are not. Healthy foods are the only real foods. When, as you just said, oh my gosh, that was a super healthy swap for you. Hundreds of calories.
Yeah, it was a healthy swap, and it was the first step to another healthy swap, which would be the next step and the next step. And so, like, I think I've brought
this up before. She says context counts. In the context, and I love this phrase of hers, context of your overall diet, it is a huge healthy leap. Context counts a lot.
It does. Well, and where people are and what changes they're making and what their goals are. At that point, I think at that point, I was more about the weight loss. I was more about learning balance and figuring out, okay, I can't eat these massive amounts of food. It's not healthy for me right anymore. And so if I had to tackle, if old Roni, that's what I used to say, would see new Roni's diet, she would be like running for the hills. Like, no way am I eating all this crap that you eat now. It would be too scary and overwhelming, and I would have just given up. But because you take baby steps along the way, you're more apt to make actual, real, positive, long-term changes.
Yes.
So I think sometimes people, the idea of just throwing out there, just eat real food, it's really easy. What does that really mean? I don't even know what that means.
Yes. I love what she says, that it's all foods are real foods. And I thought, yes, I mean, it's very elitist and judgmental to say, I had a farm fresh egg and veggies from my garden for breakfast. Jerf. Because the fact you would not personally eat bread, white rice, peanut butter, margarine does not make these foods fake. Even the fact some of these foods are processed doesn't make them, quote, fake. We can argue all day about their healthfulness, but real versus fake is a moot point. And the use of real and fake, this is again her article still, is a purposeful appeal to emotion designed to cajole people rather than to educate them thoughtfully. And that is what I think every time I see this, it's finger pointing and it's do what I do.
although I will play devil's advocate because this is what I'm good at. How different is it? Like, we are kind of inspiring people to share their positive changes.
Yes.
On social media and tag it wycwyc, right? So that way, and our whole philosophy about this is that we're building community, we're inspiring each other, we're celebrating each other's small baby steps, right?
Right.
But so how different is that than the jerf concept of someone who's celebrating, hey, these are the choices I made to eat today, jerf. Like, how different is that than wycwyc? And how are we not?
That it's real for me.
Because
it feels much more punitive, or much more like saying what you can when you can. I took the stairs today instead of the elevator. What you can when you can. The very definition of doing, and I know you know this, you're playing devil's advocate, but the very definition of doing what you can when you can versus just eat real food is very black and white.
Yes.
It rings that way to me. It may not be what they intend, but we are very gray by design. I mean, it took a long time to come up with all this, and they may really want to be very black and white by design. I'd be curious to hear from her if her blog post sparked controversy in that community or if they didn't care.
That's true. It's funny though, because and maybe this is why I rolled a little bit at the beginning of her article about the hashtag concepts that she was bringing up, because in my mind, I don't look at the hashtag as laying a demand on the reader of the hashtag. It's more of I am tagging this so that other people who are at this stage of their diet, like I am, we can find each other and we can celebrate together. And very similar to what we're doing with wycwyc. So it's kind of just like they have a community of people who are eating real, quote unquote, how they're defining real foods. And this is how they find one another. This is how they celebrate. This is how they pat each other on the back. Hey, I went to the farmer's market today and I got fresh eggs and I got veggies and I made this great salad.
That's a really great point. Sure. It's not intended for me because I don't buy into it.
You're not the
audience.
That's
a good point. Yes, that's a great point.
I don't tend to look at them and then say they're doing more harm than good, because unless they're out there totally demeaning other people for not eating real food or
and
whatever.
When it's in blog posts, I don't read them because I think, so I skip it.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
if it's
the
on
audience,
their Twitter,
you're right. Yeah.
If it's on their Twitter feed or their Instagram and they took a photo and they're really proud of some crazy real food salad that they made and they're sharing it with their other real food advocates, to me, that's just their community celebrating, not very different than what we are doing as wycwyc. But the idea of real food, and I used to say, and I don't know if this is better or worse, the way I used to define my diet because when people ask for your advice, you go, what did you eat to lose weight? Or how did you change your diet? Yes. The way I always described it was I focused on more real foods, lean meats, fresh fruits and veggies.
You're right. I would say that everything in its closest to nature form as I could do.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And so I don't know, sometimes we get so hooked up on semantics that we can't say good or bad with food or people. And I actually I highlighted a sentence that are out of her blog post. And I think this is the one here. She has telling people to, quote, just eat real foods only continues to support the idea that some foods are healthy while others are not, and goes even one step further by implying that healthy foods are the only real foods. Well, some foods are healthy and some foods are not. Why are we denying that? Why is it so bad?
And
I'm playing devil's advocate again.
No, I found that interesting too. And I thought, for me, I think of my daughter. Every day I make her lunch for camp, and it's super healthy, almost not by design, but just by our life. She's gotten really into, I have ruined her, salad, which is great, but she's really into mixed greens, plain grilled chicken, and some cheese, no dressing or anything. So she has that and fruit and cut up veggies, just what we have in the house. But every day it's some piece of crap with no nutritional value. Reese's cup, lollipop. So I guess when I read it, I thought, oh, it all fits into the greater context of what we're eating.
Yeah, I think we overanalyze. I just feel like every day I have to fight the 4-year-old because he wants chocolate chips for breakfast.
I love when I saw that. Now, would you put them in
every
pancakes?
day?
That's the first thing I thought.
I put them in pancakes. That's what I do. And
that's not what he wants.
He'll eat chocolate chip pancakes. He'll eat regular pancakes, but he always wants chocolate chips, quote, on the side. So he
Oh my
always
gosh,
says,
that's
can I have chocolate chips
hilarious.
on the side? And I always say, well, if you eat 2
Oh,
pancakes, you know, so now I'm bargaining with the 4-year-old. But the whole reason he wants them is because he had chocolate chip pancakes one day and I gave him a few on the side while we were making them together, you know, like pouring them
yes.
in. And now he wants chocolate chips. I mean, he's a chocolate fan. He's totally my kid, because the other one I'm not so sure of, because he doesn't really like chocolate or peanut butter or cheese. I'm like, where did you come from? But my younger one has my diet likes to a T, except for fruit. He does not like fruit, which blows my mind still to this day. But anyway, yeah, every day he asks for chocolate chips. And I bargain with him. I say, if you eat your 2 pancakes now, I'm making homemade pancakes with flax seeds and hemp hearts and oat flour and almond meal. Like, my pancakes are homemade. And that's my way. The only reason why I do that, I'm not anti, what's the pancake brand? I don't even know anymore.
I don't know, like Bisquick kind of thing?
Biscuit, yeah. I'm not anti-biscuit. I actually started buying frozen pancakes. You know, you could buy like pre-made frozen pancakes. That was one of the things I used to give Ryan.
Yeah, I forgot about those.
I used to give those to Ryan when he was younger. And then I finally figured out my own recipe. And then my own recipe has been changing and morphing over the last few years. And I was like, oh, I can add flax. Oh, I can add this. Oh, I can add that. And it's my vehicle to get good stuff in them, right? That's my whole goal, is just to get good stuff in. And if it requires me to also allow them to have chocolate chips on the side, to me, that is a small price to pay. Plus, that's life. Like, you're not going to eat a perfect diet, whatever. No one knows what a perfect diet is anyway.
Yeah. And you know, I love, and I almost shared, it's such a well-worn quote on our Facebook page, because we have a Facebook page, which you can when you can. Brought to you by
like us.
I don't even know his name. I'm going to say Michael Pollan. That could not be it. I really, really am drawn to and love the quote: if it came from a plant, eat it. If it was made in a plant, don't. I mean, and I am the consummate carnivore. I still love that as an ultimate pinnacle of maybe what healthy eating is. I don't do that in a given day, but I love the quote. So I like the notion of, oh, that would be an interesting ideal, but it's not for me.
I can never.
Every meal.
I feel like every meal, every
Oh
food, every restaurant you go to, you have. See, I feel like I have accepted the lack of actual control. Like, I think I make the best decisions I can with what I have. And I think I control my environment as what I can. And I constantly strive to make better and better choices using the information we have right now, which will change.
That's,
like, one day,
nailed it. It's being an
one day they're going to tell us chia seeds give you strokes or something. Like, who knows? Like, they told you eggs are bad, then eggs are good, and then eggs are bad again.
Or yesterday, did you see how the New York Times said the artificial sweeteners are better than sugar?
No, see, they can't make up their minds. But I feel like my whole philosophy is, and it's more like I strive to be, and I think it is Michael Pollan who said this, to eat mostly. And I have that he has that food rules book. I love that.
Yes.
I'll link to it in the post, because I think it's just really like down to earth tips. And I think it was him who said, like, I remember watching one of the documentaries he was in about make it yourself, right? So
yes,
I tend to strive for that because it's what works for me, and I enjoy cooking. And I think, okay, well, if you really, I think in the one clip he talks about, you know, French fries are so accessible now. Like, they're ubiquitous. They're everywhere. Every restaurant you go to, you get French fries on the side of everything.
I know. It's like you get a salad, or you could have fries instead of the salad.
Yeah, it's just everywhere. But just think, if the only time you ate French fries is if you made them yourself, the amount of work it takes to cut the potatoes, heat up the oil, have the excess oil you have to now just get rid of. Like, it's a process. Like, and this kind of goes back to one of our chapters in the book about deconveniencing. I think sometimes our modern day conveniences, including things like, you know, fast food and having food available to us at all the times, it's doing more harm than good. Like, it's useful. So if you consciously go in and say, well, I'm not going to eat a piece of cake unless I bake the cake myself. You're only going to have cake about twice a year because it's a pain in the ass to bake cake.
And it goes back to how we're all different. I might actually, if I loved French fries, seriously motivate to make them every day. I have the luxury of time since I work from home. We go out never. So for me, the perfect Michael Pollan thing would be only get French fries when I go out. We never do fast food.
Right. Yes. And that's where the context.
Yeah. So it's
in
all
her
the
article
context.
makes more sense. Yeah. And I do this. We talked about this with ice cream. Like I rarely keep ice cream in the house because I'd rather make it inconvenient for me to grab a tub of Ben & Jerry's and just eat it while I watch TV, because that's what I would do. But I don't not eat ice cream. I just use it as if I'm out or it's just the way I've kind of deconvenienced ice cream for myself so that I don't unconsciously overconsume, which is something that I have a habit of doing. Same with cheese.
Yes.
Yes. So I don't know. I think I think people's intentions are really good with the real food. I know when I've said things like that, and I know anytime I blog about good versus bad food, I always feel like I have to put it in quotes. I'm like, but I do feel like overall we have gotten way too sensitive with this whole.
I totally agree. Yes.
There are bad food. Things are bad for you. Like trans fats are bad for you. Like but that doesn't mean
my Diet Coke. Like I'm so proud, and I'm writing about this next week, how thanks to wycwyc, I open the can and I really do only drink half, but even that entire half is really bad for me. There's nothing good about it.
Some would argue it's really not that bad for you. And I tend to also agree. Like, I don't know. I think moderation is good. I think we as humans, the biggest problem comes in overindulgence and availability. Like, it's not going to kill you to have a handful of Swedish fish. But if you eat Swedish fish by the pound every day of your life, there's something wrong there. Like you're causing some damage with the sugar spike and insulin response.
Like, yes, that I have maintained my weight loss for so long. But when I wrote my first tween fiction manuscript, put back on some weight, it was all good food, healthy food. But I was sitting. It was at the computer. And it's that whole, even the sunburns if you get too much. Anything good when you get too much of it isn't great for us as well.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, I just feel like for me personally, I keep a very, what's the word I don't even know how to describe it without insulting someone. Like moderate diet. Like I strive for lots of things that are grown out of the ground. I try to buy like grass-fed beef when it's available, but it's not always available. I try, I make an effort. And that's kind of why I think wycwyc resonates so much with you and I, and why we're kind of forging this path, is because I feel like so much information out there is like, you have to do this, you have to eat this, you can never eat that again. And it's these black and whites where it's like, all right, guys, let's be realistic. Like,
and I think that's the jerk for me, is it feels like there's perfection. It feels like there's no gray area, and I live in the gray area. And so I get what she's saying. That I look at, for me, it's less the hashtag you make a point, because I'm not their designated audience then, but I do often double check to see who tweeted using that. Oftentimes I'm surprised, and I think, oh, because I know you and I were at FitBlogging and we had some drinks or whatever it is, I think, you don't do that all the time. So it's that there's perfectionism inherent in the message for me.
It's kind of why I'm not a big fan of like, now I know some people are gluten-free, like you're gluten-free. I know some people are gluten-free based on need, but the idea of gluten-free, paleo, these like really strict diets that just discount, that they just throw away complete food groups, are just not for me. I just feel like in the long term, I'm sure there's a small percentage of people that could go paleo and have no problem, that it meets their lifestyle, that's easy for them, it's intuitive, they do it, they lose weight, they feel great, and like it's great. Like I would never advise someone not to do it, but I feel like for the vast majority, or at least for people who maybe would relate to my story and relate to me personally, I feel like it does more harm than it's good. Like if I try to be paleo,
and that's her number 3. I love that. Not everyone needs a restrictive diet.
I would fail. I mean, based on
I couldn't do it either.
The thought of it just blows my mind. Like, wait, I can't. And it's funny because the one time we had this conversation a few years ago when I first started at my CrossFit gym, because of course CrossFit and paleo go hand in hand. And I was so happy to find that the vast majority of the members at my gym are not paleo. And I thought, phew, thank God, this is a group I could fit in with. Like a lot of them try, you know, they try to eat healthier. Of course, they're trying to up their protein take. They're doing whatever, you know, that fits for them. But we had that conversation one time and somebody asked about paleo, like a new member asked, and they asked my opinion. And I was like, I go, well, I think it's great, but I'm not giving up oatmeal or beans. And I'm like, I just don't think those two things need to be taken out of my diet, or even honey. Like, or I just
there's
feel
no
like
motivation. I think it's been, gosh, I want to say the last time I had pizza, it's been like almost 25 years.
Oh, don't get me started. I just ate my weight in pizza on vacation.
It's only because, oh my gosh, I couldn't bend my legs. My joints swelled so bad. Like there'd be no motivation for me not to eat beans again. I would have no motivation to stick to it, or honey, or even gluten if it weren't a need. That it's like, oh my gosh, it has been super easy. I'm sure I ate pasta and pizza initially when I didn't know what I was trying to eliminate and felt terrible. But yeah, there's no temptation because I know how just unbelievably bad I'll physically feel. I could never stick to a diet without that.
Well, which is funny because I think even though I know certain foods make me feel certain ways, I still can't stay away from it. So I feel like, I mean, I guess maybe it's not to the extreme of others, but, and I went through a period at the beginning of the year where I was trying that low FODMAP diet. Do you know what I'm talking about? FODMAP. Yes. Yeah. Because I tend to have like some irritable bowel issues, especially when I travel. And I really never pinpointed exactly in my diet what was causing the problems. But even that diet, it was like, I couldn't eat things like onions and garlic. And I'm like, dude, that's the foundation of everything I cook. I can't even imagine. But since then I have uncovered like certain things that when I eat them, I have more trouble than when I don't, but they're not to the point where I would eliminate them 100% out of my diet. Like I'm pretty sure dairy in large quantities, not good for me. But sometimes I want a bowl of real, actual ice cream.
But it's the large quantities. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I think for me, it's all the perfectionism. I think it was, it's interesting. And it's all we've worked so hard to create a book, podcast, Facebook, whatever, where it's all about the gray area. And I think that's why jerf doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why things like paleo, like it's too restrictive. And I feel like we need to more meet people where they are and then celebrate the small changes. I think people don't really recognize that those small changes really build up. And maybe the only reason why I do is because I've seen it in myself and I've seen the progress of where someone's diet can go if they make small changes consistently and consistently strive to make better choices. So I feel like, I guess the motivation is like, we want to just motivate people to make better choices and then let them carve their own path. That's the only way I feel like people will make long standing effective change, is if they kind of forge their own way. And I've always said that even with Weight Watchers. So I was always like, I think Weight Watchers is great, but I kind of made the plan my own. I made it, I didn't follow it to the letter. I kind of took what I wanted from it and then didn't, but my motivation was there. And I think that's why I was so successful, is because if you make it your own and then you have like that drive to like nurture yourself and to push yourself and you constantly make little strides, then you'll end up eating bags of kale, and that's my blog post, bags of kale and tubs of Greek yogurt.
Or you won't.
I think you're good.
And that's
or
okay.
You won't. You get someplace else. You get someplace else where you feel better and you're maintaining your weight, or you know what I mean? Like, that's why wycwyc. That's why we wrote wycwyc. See, it all comes together.
I but this is the first time I loved her article, only because I had never seen anybody else say that. And I thought it so often. So I love that.
Well, I do feel like the pendulum is swinging in the other direction. And that's what always happens. Yeah. So before it was like paleo, eat real food, only, and now it's going to swing the other way. And everybody's going to be like, it's the same with Atkins. Remember late 90s, early 2000s. Oh, yeah,
I wrote for the Atkins.
Never eat another carb again. Yeah. And then the pendulum, like before that, it was fat, right? So then the pendulum swang the other way. And now everyone's like, fat's not bad. You need fat. And
hopefully it'll be just processed food someday. I mean, we need everything out of it. If it comes from a plant, don't eat it. If it was made in a plant, consume.
Well, you know what? You say that, but really,
future.
is that not that different than like the breast milk situation in our country? Like, it was like it went from. I mean, you have to figure in the 1700s, 1800s. I mean, what else did you feed your kids but breast milk, right? And then it was like, I guess in the 50s of this, this last 100 years, it was like, no, science can do better than breast milk. You're like, really? And then everyone kind of believed that for a few generations. And then the pendulum's now swinging the other way. It's like, no, we need more breastfeeding advocates. So it's kind of like we're constantly like, it's like a teeter-totter with everything. And that's just the nature, I think, of, I guess, humans and the way we learn and grow and build our knowledge base as a society. But so, yeah, you say that, but really, I think that's happened in certain aspects.
Okay, we will have to wait and see. Till it's a
We
world
will.
filled with, it'll be the zombie apocalypse.
Well, in a weird way, organics is kind of what's doing it, because some people they won't eat inorganic fruits and vegetables. They'd rather eat a box of organic crackers than an inorganic apple. So I would argue that we're actually
the Annies. Yep.
Yeah, we're closer than we really think, which is kind of scary, because that's we can get on a whole nother organic. We'll save that organic talk for another day. So I have a very simple, oh my gosh, what's this phrase I'm looking for? Wycwyc of the week.
You're getting old. Look, we tied it all back into the beginning. I don't have one. So you have one. It's yours.
I do have one, and it's such a simple one, and maybe that's good, because you don't have one. But it's from Twitter. And when I saw this tweet, I kind of thought, yes, this is exactly it. Like, that's one of those things where it was like an aha for her and for me when I read it. So it's from Mariette S, MERRETTES.
Mariette Sinnott, I love her. Yeah.
Yes. And she just tweeted, this was a few days ago, stumble, stumble, ... yet I'm still moving on. Wycwyc. And I thought, yes, I've been stumbling myself. But you still forge ahead. I mean, that's the whole idea of what we talked about in the book of momentum and taking baby steps. And yeah, I just thought it was it was nice too, because you talk a lot about fake booking, and that's kind of fake book-esque, yet very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not relevant, but hard hitting. What's that word I'm looking for? There's a word there I can't pull, but it was very inspirational.
I love that. Yeah, it's just, and I think it's what we all do. I love that.
Yeah, wasn't that simple and nice? And we stayed away from our classic Roni picks a food tweet and Carla picks a activity tweet. We broke out of our shell this week. I like it.
I like it too. On that note, we are onward. I'm going to wycwyc, and it is going to be, I think, 103 here in Austin, Texas. So the poor dog got walked at 6 a.m, and he's getting walked now. And then that is it for the rest of the day. He's got 11 more hours before bed, and he's not hitting the pavement. Wycwyc.
Yeah, you need one of those dog doors. We just let him go out.
I know. Oh my gosh, burning of the paws. I would take him out. It is crazy town in Texas. We were gonna. Oh, you know what? It is wycwyc. We'll walk around the house.
There you go.
Walker.
You get to play fetch in the living room. That'll work.
And I'll periscope it. Until next week.
Bye, guys. Wycwyc.
Wycwyc.
All right, we did it. All right, so.
Are you seriously going to try to edit this now?
Yes, because what I've discovered is that having it hang over my head does more stress for me than just biting the bullet and taking an hour and getting it up.
You know what? Then before I take him out, I'm going to I'll do this. Before I take him out, I'll write the post and then drop it in when I'm back.
Perfect. That works for me. Yeah, I'm gonna I'll upload this now and then or download it, whatever. I'll load it and we'll get it up this afternoon.
I'm going to go do this right the second before it leaves my brain. Oh, and then what day is today? Wednesday.
So it's Wycwyc Wednesday.
Wycwyc Wednesday. Let's chat tomorrow if you can. I don't think.
Yeah, I could chat tomorrow. Let me look at my calendar. Hold on.
Oh, I have marriage counseling in the morning, but in the late morning, afternoon, I am totally free. Call anytime.
I don't have anything until Friday. So yeah, I mean anything out of the house that would prevent me from chatting. So I'm pretty much free from 9 to 4 tomorrow.
Oh, and I may call you before marriage counseling. All right, let me go get this out of my head and then I will email you.
All right, talk to you soon.
Bye. Oh my gosh, we're still recording. That's funny.